Good afternoon. You join me on what is a potential perfect day. And why is that? Why is today perfect? Well, I found this. I found this beast, and it's going to be perfect if I can fix it. Because it's a TEAC V900X, and it had a problem already with the eject mechanism, or rather the door. Somebody had jimmied up a piece of metal inside. I fixed that quite easily. Loaded a cassette. The right spool isn't turning. So I'm going to open it up and find out if it's a perfect day or it's the start of a long nightmare that spirals into ever greater depression and another end, like last week, where I was forced to admit defeat on a Sony camcorder that gave up, you know. But anyway, on with TEAC 900. First thing to say about this machine is that it's very heavy. It weighs 7.5 kilos, which is the heaviest real compact cassette player I've ever known. Even the screws that go in are very heavy. This deck was produced in 1975 and 1986 and would have set you back £850, which would have been about, you know, I was earning at that time, I started working in 1980, and my first salary at 16 was £50 a week. So 5 years later, I was earning £100 a week. So it would have been 2 months' wages. That's gross. So I've repaired the first little bodge where the tape wouldn't actually go in because the spring, one of the springs had been bent up. Took the door off, sorted that out easily enough. And now let's see what lies within. Wow, look at that, Jesus. The machine's dusty, it's in a very dusty condition, so we'll get the camera over. I can tell it was dusty from the... Oh God, that is so full of dust. Yeah. This has obviously been kept in a go-kart, stock car rally track. There's the front, so that's what we've got to check out. Somewhere dusty, maybe inside a chicken shed, where the chickens would listen to high quality music. As they were factory farmed. And yeah, I mean that, where you is something else. So what's happening at the moment, if I hold that up, the right spool is not turning at all. It sounds to me as if a motor's not engaging. So it might not be a bell, but I'm going to have to take it apart. That's for sure and certain, but I think it's still going to be a good day because it's going to be fixable. Capstan motor's turning well, it's quiet. The capstan wheel's in good condition. Heads look alright. Well, I had a thing like this the other week with a Philips cassette player, and all I've done is, it was in operation, it was making the grinding noise, and I pushed this wheel, and the motor is now turning, and voila. It's running. Let's try another cassette. It's got a nice damped eject on it, as you'd expect. So it's basically, I haven't done anything apart from move that wheel, which you didn't see when I did it live and on direct, but it needs lubrication, I guess. Let's try and get a cassette with some music on it, though I know I've got some music. We'll check the output. Well, there's no output, obviously, unless... Shit. Source, tape, that's on, tape, voila. Woohoo! Alright, now, due to copyright, I'll have a listen. Oh! Oh my god. Yeah. This does sound really good, actually. Really spot on. Output, full output. Now one thing you can do with this is auto fade in, fade out, but you have a timer, so you can set a maximum on how long you want. Now I don't have a manual, but I presume, you know, it could be like maybe 10 seconds to a couple. C6D time. See me in a minute. Yeah. C6D. Tape length 90. C4C6L. Obviously this is an auto. It's a 3-head deck. A 3-head means, for anyone that's wondering, you have an erase head. It's basically like a reel-to-reel machine. You have an erase head here in the usual place, the first thing that it's going to come to the tape as it passes erase or not. Then you have a playback head and you have a record head. Instead of having 2 heads, a recording head, an erase head, and 1 head that contains both the playback and recording head, you have 2 separate heads, which means that you can listen to the source. If I was recording something now, I really don't want to run into any copyright problems, but if I put it onto source, which you can see, yeah, we would effectively listen to that running across the playback head and being amplified by the preamplifier in this and being sent out to our amplifier, our power amplifier. And the recording head would then, if you switch to monitor, to tape, you would hear what was being recorded. So you hear the original signal, and you can monitor it, and you can alter the recording levels to suit. Obviously anybody that buys a machine like this is going to look after it, and I think this has been looked after. It's just spent the last 10 years or so in a barn or a chicken shed for some reason, you know, who knows. Funny thing about cassettes, I mean, cassettes have so gone out of fashion, or they went so out of fashion. So if we take a chrome cassette, let's see what happens. A normal position. So what we got here, this is normal. So it's gone to metal by default. Normal. I haven't haven't cleaned it yet. I'm just playing and want to show you what's happening and what I've moved and what the problem is. So I'll stop it. You'll see this wheel spin, and it sounds like a cog's skipping. It doesn't sound right anyway. Listen. Now I hit play. It spins, doesn't engage. That's enough to make it catch up. And you know, it's cogs all over the place, obviously. Maybe there's a spring off. Doesn't seem like it, because that just doesn't sound great when it does actually stop. Very quick ordinary one. Sit down. See. So you've got that much movement between the end of the servo. So it spins like that in a fraction of a second. To there, to the back. Stop. But it won't throw itself forward. Go on, it's got it. That's done it. Okay, it's coming back to life. Yeah. All right. Well, it's a great day. All right. All these parts look good to my untrained eye. Nothing burnt, nothing too swollen. And give you a good look at all the reasons it weighs 7.5 kilos. There you go. This is interesting. I've just discovered that if I turn this wheel when it's unplugged, obviously as it is, the door opens, which there's a relationship between this, the play, and the door opening and closing, because before, as it was, closing the door, I can't open it because it's electronic eject, there was resistance when you tried to close it, but you know, you could get over it. But a few things. It's now later, the battery died, it's been charging up. There's a circlip on there that I have been trying to take off, because I've had this idea, this notion that if this gear engages with this if I take this off the white wheel, rotate the black wheel one tooth, put that back on, it'll work. That's an idea. Taking 2 screws out of here to lift this off, because ultimately I could, well, just it doesn't want to come off. It seems to be fixed around that point. So the next thing is I've taken this motor, which drives the pulley and the 2 pulleys in the belt, the wheel, off to give them more access. You can see in there the back of the drum, the flywheel that makes contact. It's making good contact. There's no problem with belt slippage or anything, but slippage. So what's happening is this turns, the black wheel turns, and that white lever falls into the profile of the black wheel. So now you can see that would be in the play position. Okay, it's gone into the gap, lifts off, comes back, stops around, yeah, kind of there basically. If I track that back a bit, see the door doesn't like shutting. I don't want this to be a 2-hour video. Shut the door. Okay. So if I turn it on, now with it on, I've got no room to move because it counteracts, I'm not sure what. I did think that the belt might be loose, but I think that's just a cop out. I don't think that is, you know, that's the problem. That'd be too easy, even if it is a bust to get off. So that's where I am at the moment. If I turn it off again, you can see that there's nothing stopping. So let's see. Yes. Bizarre system this is, really. So that's, normally that's like, okay, that's going to be stop. Let's rotate to play, so it flips, and then instead of the white lever falling into the space and stopping there, it's just not going over far enough there to push this over against the other wheel. You can see that it's going to, it's about a tooth. Ready? A tooth. A turn of a tooth. Well, with this out, it's still not engaging, so it's nothing to do with this. That's all. There you go. Rewind. Fast forward. So it's a switch. Jesus. That switch. That. It's got to be physical. So it's almost there then. It's kind of like, it's on the brink. It's so close to engaging. But what's difficult to understand is how, if it has become decalibrated on the line, how could it have become like that? That's what makes no sense. It's not something that could just happen. So I would have to say the prime culprit in that case has got to be the belt, really. It can't be this. It's not possible. You could be in a world of pain taking that off and then trying to, maybe it's spring loaded, I doubt it, but it's this, it's got to be this belt. There's quite a bit of play in it, and it's the prime suspect, as Helen Mirren would say. I've just got this off with putting it back on. Don't worry about that at the time, but I'm convinced that it's not the belt, which I've cleaned with alcohol. It's not that it's too loose. I think someone's changed the belt in the past and put it back on, put the wheel back on, taken it all to pieces, put the wheel back on, and it's decaled. So Well, I'm going to pull this wheel off, the white one, and I want to try and set that apart, one back from this black one. So the beauty of this is that I can do it without taking the wheel off, I think. Now this circuit board's in the way. Oh la la. No, it's not going to go. I also greased the pinion in the track, but that didn't make any difference. Now to get this wheel back, to decal it, offset it, I need to pull this board back. To do that, I need to take this out, so I can get to this, so I can bring this back. Underneath that there's a big potentiometer that controls, I'm not sure why it's there. Well, it's for the motor basically. It's feeding the motor that drives this instantaneously to kick in. It isn't the motor, it's for the gear, it's for the white gear. But anyway, that whole thing, supported by this, needs to come back, and the screws are down there. So these two this needs to come out for a minimum. Attention to detail. There. And you've got another two screws. It's all very well doing it in real time. Yeah, pull these out. The three connectors there, and then get back to you. I think. Otherwise, it'd be a never-ending videos. It's not a great video to be making in the dark, but these are the screws that I need to get out. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's really kind of like not meant to be done lightly, because these are soldered. Okay, so these three here are soldered. Then you've got the bottom. You've got another which run into this board with the drive board. And there's not a lot of room to play with to bring it out more without seriously taking things apart. And I've got access to, I could go like that actually. No, it could go with this one. That will get through. Yeah, but Jesus Christ. Tell you what. Okay, so it's not like a reel-to-reel. There's no room, and it's basically a sod to work on, because this, which are the three buttons from the top there, will not pull out. And I'm doing all this just so I can get access to one single screw that's holding this in place. So the front off, this for one screw. And I hate to say it, but I think I've done it for nothing, because I'm still not going to have access to it. So if I take this, God knows what else out. I mean, this rebate here is stopping this bottom one moving back. You know, it's kind of...
It's not even as if you get a specialist tool in there either. Hang on, if I... That's just... Why is that, does that need to be like that? The fuck? It's like, it's hidden. It does not need to be. You can't, you know, there's no need for that. The chassis does not need to stop that coming through. Fucking plastic buttons. No. I'm not going to pull those out. No way, I'm not pulling them out.
It is quite literally the spawn of the devil. Like, you can go through here, as I've just done, to, if you wanted to get to that screw, for example, but, you know, you need a longer screwdriver than that. It's a funny shaped head, and the one I want at the bottom is a different head again, and I can't get to it. So alright, that is what I need to get out, and pull this back, bring this forward. Can I get to it? Can I? Fuck. Yeah, I mean, the only thing moving here is a blue bottle. After looking at it for 5 minutes and making a cigarette, I thought, sod it, I'm going to try again, and I'm going to try and turn the black one from our position anti-clockwise against the white, doesn't matter where it is. I did it. I moved it a tooth. I got enough that way going that way and the white one going to the left, and it moved up on its own independently of this one. So I'm going to put it back together as far as I need to and try to... Okay, the moment of truth. I have not tried it. Let's see, we'll share the experience. Of it not working. Shit. You hit plays and then you hit pause. You can't get back from pause without doing the same again, which is why I don't think it's the belt. Next theory. Well, I'm kind of out of them, really. Sort of. Well, I've got so many, and they're all bad. And I've done it. And you know what? It was quite an easy thing, as usual. These things. I looked at this board, and you've got a potentiometer for pause, and you've got one for stop. You don't have one for play. I left the stop where it is and altered the pause. Rewound it. You can see it's about, from where we are now, about 11 o'clock. Yeah, you can see it there. Voila! I wound it back. Too much. I went. So, if you ever have a problem with one of these decks, and you look on the internet, and I'm so pleased it's working, I'm going to try it out, I suppose, and I haven't really listened to it apart from in the headphones, so I'll listen to it in anger, with purpose, and maybe do a video on what it sounds like once I've put this video together. Honestly, I mean, such a simple thing, and due to the nature of my myself, I didn't even see those pots there. What a dick. Bon, we'll say no more about it. My friends in the morning, and there you go. It was the belt. After more investigation and tightening the belt with the system, like something like this, you know, that's through it with a screw running through it, so that turns and more tension. And it's not the easiest in the world to get off. You have to. This is the old belt. This is the old belt. I'm going to change it with this one. You've got to unscrew the two screws from the top of the circuit board here. Prise that away, and then get in there and undo. You have to undo this screw that holds the back of the potentiometer on. And it's not tight, but for me it wasn't tight, luckily, so I was able to do with a good screwdriver and a bit of pressure on the head. And then you can separate the from the and pull it through, and after that it should be straightforward to put it back on. We'll see. Well, it's a bit like Mission Impossible, trying to show you this. There you go. So loosen that, slide forward the potentiometer. The plastic sleeve pulls out from the shaft of the potentiometer. You can pass the band over. Job's a good one. Beautiful. Yeah, that's okay. Got to give it a good push. That's the main thing. That is the main thing. Oh, that's so good. So, yeah. I think the only thing to say is fucking A, basically. Cheers. See you in the edit.